Hey everybody, Andrew here. Today we're going to have a look at the song Country Boy Lovin' by Dillon Carmichael. Now if you're a beginner you can play this tune. It just uses D, G and A chords. The only thing you'll need to do is omit the solo section. That section of the song uses a B minor 7 and an F major bar chord. If you're feeling game, you can have a go at learning the chords and you'll only become a better player. If you're an electric guitarist, jump to here and you can learn all of the licks and the solo and all that fun stuff. And if you're one of the many people who aren't subscribed to my videos but watch them nonetheless, please feel free to subscribe. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, leave me a bad comment, leave me a thumbs down, doesn't matter. Any of that stuff helps me to help you more. The intro for this tune, super simple. It's literally just 4 bars of the D chord. And the rhythm that I'm playing is going to be a down, 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 up, down, up. And that initial downstroke on the first beat of each bar, I'm just generally aiming for the tonic of each of those chords. So generally more the bass strings and then the rest of the strums taking place on the higher strings. So over the D chord, it'll sound a little bit like this. I'm going to break verse 1 down into 2 8-bar chunks. So the first chunk of verse 1 is going to be 4 bars of D, followed by 2 bars of the G chord, followed by another 2 bars of the D chord. Then when we jump onto the second 8-bar chunk, we're going to play another 4 bars of D, followed by 2 bars of A, and then we're literally just going to hit a G chord and we're going to hold that chord for 2 bars. Okay, the choruses for this tune, pretty straightforward once again. It's going to be 4 bars of our D chord, followed by 2 bars of our G chord, another 2 bars of D, then we go to 2 bars of A, and then once again, same as the verse, we're going to hit that G chord and we're going to just hold it for 2 bars. Once we finish the first chorus, we're simply going to jump back and we're going to play the same 4 bars of D like we did for the introduction. Now verse 2 is going to be 8 bars long. It's going to consist of 4 bars of our D chord, followed by another 2 bars of G, and then for the last 2 bars we're going to play an open G chord and just hold it out, let it ring for those 2 bars. The second chorus is exactly the same as the first chorus, so we already know how to do that. So the next part of the song is the little lead in to the solo, and that's simply 2 bars of our D chord. Now while the pedal steel and the electric guitar are taking their solos, we're going to be playing a little chord progression underneath. And that chord progression is going to consist of 2 bars of A, followed by another 2 bars of G. And this is where those couple of extra chords come in. We're going to play in the next bar, it's going to be 2 beats of B minor, followed by 2 beats of A, followed by 2 beats of G, followed by 2 beats of F, and then we're going to go to our D chord. We're going to just give it a big strum and we're going to hold that for 2 bars. Third verse is super simple. It's 8 bars of the D chord, with the exception that when we get to the 5th bar, we're just going to play a diamond. So we're just going to give a big strum of our D chord. We're going to hold that for 4 beats. And then for the next 3 bars, it's literally no chords. So the drum does its thing. That's going to lead into our last chorus, which is exactly the same as the first chorus that we played. So the only part of the song that's left is the outro. And the outro is pretty straightforward. It's going to be 2 bars of our D chord, followed by a big diamond once again on our G chord that we hold for 2 bars. And then we simply play another 3 bars of D. And then on bar 4, we're going to play A to D. And that's the whole tune. Hope you had fun learning the chords for the song and the acoustic guitar parts. If you play electric guitar and you want a challenge, keep on watching the video and you can learn all the main electric guitar parts for the tune. Thanks again for watching. Now that we know the basic framework of the song, it's time to dig into the 5 main guitar licks. But first, we need to drop that low E string down to a D, so it sounds like this. The intro begins by bending the 2nd fret of the A string slightly, then picking the open D string followed by the open A string, and then bending the 3rd fret of the low E string slightly. The next phrase forms the main hook of the song, and it's played before the 2nd verse, and it's also used at the end to play out as an outro. We start with the open E string, followed by the open D and A strings consecutively. Then we play the 3rd fret on the A string, followed by the open D string. We then slide up to the 5th fret of the D string, back down to the 3rd, and then we finish off by playing that little 4-note motif from the beginning of the lick. The last phrase is a little bluesy run, which starts on the 2nd fret of the G string and then moves chromatically down to the open G string. Then play the 3rd fret of the D string with our middle finger, followed by the open D string. And then we play the 3rd fret on the A string, followed once again by the open D string. The rhythm patterns for the verses and choruses are loosely based on the Chuck Berry sort of Johnny B. Good rhythm. Now when we jump to the G chord, we simply need to bar our index finger across the low E and A strings, like such. And then to get that shuffle pattern, we're simply going to bounce our 3rd finger off the 7th fret of the A string. And then obviously for the A chord, it's just the open A position and we do the same. Now there are, however, 2 exceptions. The first exception is over the D chord in the verses. Now this one is still loosely based on the Chuck Berry rhythm, but it reminds me more of Tina Turner's Nutbush City Limits. A little bit like this. You can see in that case my pinky is jumping not just up to the 6th of the chord, but up to the 7th. So if you just follow that sort of a rhythm, she'll be nice and easy. Now, the second exception is verse 2. Now, this little riff, or rhythm, I guess, reminds me more of AC/DC, and it's simply a little half-step slip into each of the chords like this. Other than that, you can Chuck Berry your heart out for the rest of the song. Now just remember, you go back to the opening hook to lead into verse 2. But once you get past verse 2, we've got a little lick that leads into the pedal steel solo. Sounds like this. We're going to start this phrase on the open D string. Then we go to the 3rd fret on the A string, and then back to the open D string. Open A string, 3rd fret, open D string, 3rd fret again, open G string, then we slide up to the 6th fret on the D string, 7th fret, 5th fret on the G string, 7th fret on the G string. Add a little bit of vibrato. Okay, now for the part that everyone's been waiting for, solo. So we're going to start by sliding from the 7th fret of the A string up to the 9th fret. Then we play the same thing on the D string. Then we slide from the 6th fret, this is the toto part, on the G string to the 7th fret, up to the 9th fret. So far it'll sound like this. Next up is a typical guitar cliche. We're going to bend from the 9th fret on the G string, up a tone. Then we're going to play the 7th fret on the high E string, followed by the 7th fret on the B string. And here's the first part of the solo that starts to feel and sound a little bit country. We're going to hold down the 10th fret on the B string with our pinky, followed by a bend and release from the 9th fret of the G string, 7th fret, 10th fret on the D string, to the 7th fret, and then 2 double stop stabs at the 7th fret on the G and B strings. With your index finger, we're going to slide down to the 5th fret. Then with our 3rd finger, we're going to slide from the 7th fret of the D string to the 5th fret. Then we're going to do a hammer on from the 3rd fret to the 4th fret. Open D string. Then we're going to play the 3rd fret on the A string to the open. Then we're going to play a slight bend on the low E string. And then finish it up by dropping to the open low E string, which in this case is a D note. Now after we play the last chorus, we've got a quick run that leads us back into the outro tag. To play this, we're going to start with our index finger on the 5th fret of the G string. We're then going to play a walk down from the 7th fret of the D string, 5th fret, 3rd fret. And then 5th fret of the A string to the 3rd fret, to the open A string. 3rd fret of the A string again. Open D string, 3rd fret on the D string, little half step bend and release, and then the open D string. To end out the song, simply play the hook from the intro, and we're finished. Hey, if you're one of those many people who watch my videos but aren't subscribed, sad face, please subscribe. It'd mean the world to me, and it helps me to keep these videos going. And also, if you'd like to, nightly ums, yeah.